Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylee and this is Get Lit with Kaylee. So for this video, if you do not see from the thumbnail, I will be discussing my January reading wrap up. I read so many amazing books this year, or this month, you guys. I read a total of 21 books. I consumed and read 21 books. So I'm going to go through chronologically like what I read. I'm also going to tell you like quick synopsis, what I thought about them, and if I recommend them, and who I would think this book would be perfect for. It's not super long. I'm going to go ahead and get straight into it. So the very first book that I read this year was Holly by Stephen King. This was so good, you guys. I actually read this book on a flight, which I highly recommend because it's very fast-paced. I was a little nervous going into this book because you really need to read the Bill Hodges trilogy, and I've only read the first 2 books of that trilogy before really jumping into this book, because although you can, it's easier to have read the Bill Hodges trilogy and then The Outsider, and then there's a novella, and then this book. So anyways, I have been here with Holly for a while now. But this story follows Holly Gibney, which again, you meet in the other books, and there's going to be a new one coming out. So you're following Holly Gibney. She has Finders Keepers, which is her PI firm. And, you know, she takes on a very disturbing missing persons case. And it, you know, slowly reveals some unsettling things beneath the surface. The reason why I was a little hesitant to this one was because the other books start to venture off into more paranormal. I love Mr. Mercedes. I love the true crime aspect where it's just on the brink of reality. I like that. It's very procedural, if that's your type of thing. I love Holly as a character. She's so funny and very determined. I love it. And, you know, it's very creepy. It's less supernatural like some of the other books in this universe. You know, it's really about obsession and the psychology of evil within this book. Definitely check the trigger warnings of any Stephen King book, but I loved everything about this. The bad people in this book, it's just, I really enjoyed it. It's very unsettling and very creepy. This is perfect for if you enjoy slow burn crime thrillers. You want that character-driven suspense, unsettling. Absolutely read this book. I definitely recommend it. Okay, the next book that I read was Wild Card by Elsie Silver. This book, I rated 5 stars. Oh my gosh, it's in the Rose Hill series. It's the last book in the series. I didn't really like the 3rd one, but I loved this one, you guys. It was so swoony. Like, I was dying. It is ex-boyfriend's dad, and there's an age gap. Now, I was so here for that. Because all the books in the series, by the way, are like single dad trope. And they're all like very different, you know, and everything about these 2 people, I love their personalities, everything about it. I just ate it up. I had such a great time. It's really like they had very strong chemistry between them, and I could feel it off the page. 2 people who are coming to terms with like, they're confronting their past mistakes, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought that it wrapped up really nicely, and I cannot wait to read her newest book, Fever Dream. But yeah, I definitely recommend this one. I actually recommend the whole series. They're so good. Okay, and then the next book that I read was By Any Other Name by my queen, Jodi Picoult. This book it was very different than her other books that I've read. It's 2 timelines. I would say that this is historical fiction also. You're following a character in the 1500s and you're following somebody in the present day. It explores identity and truth and labels and just like assumptions in our life. It is, I would say, definitely perfect for readers for a book club and someone who likes ethical dilemmas, someone who likes a contemporary literary book with historical feel to it, or like historical fiction. So what is this book about? So we're following Melina in the present day, and then Amelia in the 1500s. Amelia in the 1500s is the ancestor of Melina present day, okay? So Melina is a playwright, and she has beef with this play critic. And so she gets her play published with her best friend, who's a male. She uses his name basically and says that he wrote it. And the play ends up getting produced. And she's writing the play, though, based off her ancestor, Amelia, who had the same issue. So if you're a fan of somebody who likes to look up conspiracies or a Shakespeare aficionado, you would appreciate this book. You know, it's like, what if Shakespeare did not really write all of his plays? It was actually this Amelia person, which I think in real life, she's actually a poet. And for that time, a published woman's work was very unheard of. So it talks a lot about women's oppression, their place in society. And this book is going to piss you off, but in a great way, because you just feel like empowered. And I really loved both their characters. Towards the end of the book, I really wanted to hear more and more and more about Amelia's perspective, though. Excuse me. I really enjoyed being in her world. I mean, not in her world, because I would not have been able to do anything. But I enjoyed her perspective, basically. I think that if you like emotional literary fiction, historical fiction, you would really, really enjoy this one. It is a chunky book, but let me tell you something. It is so well written, so well researched. Jodi Picoult can do no wrong in my eyes. Like, yeah, it was 5 stars. And I don't think I said this in the beginning of the book, and beginning of the vlog, you guys. This was one of my best reading months ever. And not just because of the amount of books that I read, but like the quality. I genuinely like really enjoyed everything that I read. And I'll tell you about some of the books I didn't really enjoy, but for the most part, I took away something from pretty much every single book. And it was like banger after banger, to the point where I was scared to read something for like a second, because I was like, oh my God, am I gonna get into a slump? I don't know. All right, next book. I am probably the last person on planet Earth to read this book. The Song of Achilles. This has been on my TBR for so long. I was so like intimidated by this book. So what is this book about? It's very emotional. It's a retelling of the Trojan War, and it's through Patroclus's perspective. Patroclus and Achilles have a relationship. It's a love story. And even though throughout the book, you know pretty much what's going to happen, it's tragic and beautiful. And you don't have to have read the Odyssey, okay, to appreciate this book. I think I read like the whole, or maybe we studied it, I don't know, in high school and a little bit in college, like maybe pieces of it. But because the Odyssey is definitely like a fountain of literature where so many things stem from. You don't have to have known that story backwards and front. As I was reading this, I was like, oh yeah, I kind of remember this, or like whatever. Because you do see like Odysseus and people like that within this book. And it's just so good. If you don't like mythological retellings, I still think you could enjoy this. If you like tragic love stories and beautiful prose, oh my gosh. Like, there were so many things I underlined in this book. I'm not going to go through all of them. But one of them is, in the moonlight, I could just make out the shape of his face, sculpture perfect across the room. His lips were parted slightly, an arm thrown carelessly over his head. He looked different in his sleep, beautiful but cold as moonlight. I found myself wishing he could wake so I might watch the life return.
Oh my God! Wow!
Like oh my gosh, I could just feel the love coming off of the page. It was amazing. But yeah, so I would highly recommend this book. It's gonna rip your heart out and you're gonna want it to happen again and again. So yeah, definitely a favorite of mine. See what I mean, you guys? Just banger after banger. Okay, then the next book that I read was Kindred by Octavia E. Butler. Another heavy read, I will say, but it was so good. So this is a modern, this book was written in the 70s, I want to believe. She writes like sci-fi, horror, historical fiction books, dystopian, and they're very relevant today. It's kind of insane to me that these are banned books because I'm like, these are so relevant today, and it's terrifying, but in like a great way. So we're following a modern woman in the 70s, okay? She wants to be a journalist, and all of a sudden she inexplainably just like gets pulled back into time. The time that she's pulled back into is very terrifying because she doesn't know why she keeps being pulled back or how it happens. But basically she ends up realizing that she gets pulled back into time. No spoilers, okay? Whenever this kid, who's this white kid in the past, 1800s, when he gets in trouble. And it pulls her back into time and she ends up saving him over and over and over again. And even though a few seconds will go by in her time period, time exists, like it happens in real time there. So she might be gone for a blip of a second, but time, like she could be in the past for like days or months or whatever. So she gets pulled back into the antebellum South. Not a great place for a Black woman to be. She's not from this time. They don't understand that. She doesn't know how she can get back. And anything can happen to her. Like if she gets beat in the South, when she does go back into the future, into her present time, there are actual like laceration marks on her, and her husband ends up getting pulled into it also. And it's, oh my God, it's a story about survival. It's a story about like forgiveness in a way, and systemic violence. I mean, it's absolutely grotesque, the things that happen to her and what she has to obviously like live through, and reparations. And I would definitely think, I would say if you liked The Reformatory by Tana Marie Dew, you would like this. It's a historical fiction with like a sci-fi speculative element to it. So this is definitely a must read. I think this book should be like studied in school. It was so good. The Place Where They Buried Your Heart by Christina Henry. This is my first Christina Henry book. As you can see, guys, this was tabbed up. I rated this one 4.75. There was, I wanted to rate it 5 stars, but there was like a piece towards the end that's supposed to wrap things up for you, but to me it was like nonsense, and I did not like that. Everything else about this book was so good. I just was like, I hated that element to it, and it kind of ruined it for me, but I still really enjoyed my time reading it. I would definitely still recommend it, but this is not just a haunted house story. So what is this book about? This book is about a girl, that's right. So this happens in the 90s. Her little brother goes across the street with his friends on a dare to the neighborhood haunted house. The haunted house across the street has been abandoned for a long time. There's all these like tales about it. The brother does not come out alive. The other 2 kids come out, but he does not. So they said that the house ate him, and they don't know what actually happened to him. They never recovered his body. So Jessie has had to live across the street from this house for her whole life. Other things happen in the book. I don't want to spoil it, but this house just keeps tormenting her basically her entire life, and you follow her for a long time. It's so much to do with grief. There's so many beautiful points in this where I'm like, oh my God, it's tragic. I would say if you like books that have grief-focused stories, dark horror, haunted house horror, like crime also in a way, emotional, definitely read this. This is not just a run-of-the-mill haunted house story. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one that I read. That one. Not that one yet. Okay. We have What Moves the Dead by T.Kingfisher. This is the first in the Sworn Soldier saga, or trilogy. Okay. Anyway, this is a reimagining of the Fall of the House of Usher. I cannot wait to watch the show. I know I haven't watched it and a lot of other people have. But it's been on my to-do list, but I knew that this book existed and I wanted to read one of these retellings before I watched the show. I know, like, does it make any sense because this is retelling, so is that anyway. But I have not read the Edgar Allan Poe one before, by the way. And I still had a really great time with it. It was creepy. If you don't like mushroom stuff, nature, horror, don't read this. Okay? But here's the deal with T.Kingfisher. I don't like eyeball stuff. No. I'm not a big eyeball body horror fan. Stuff with small holes, I don't know what that's called, tracheophobia or something like that. I cannot stand that. So sometimes with mushroom horror, stuff like that, I don't know if I can do it. With this one, it totally did not bother me. But this one is a gothic horror novella. Again, it's inspired by the fall of the House of Usher. You're following there's a soldier who is going to this decaying estate to visit his friend who is sick, and some fuck shit is happening at the house. They don't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on with the girl who's sick or her brother. Like, they're just off. And he can sense it. Everybody can sense it. And there's a lot of dry humor in it. It's creepy. It's for only being like 160 pages, it's so easy to read. And I had a really, really good time with it. Definitely read if you like, classics, retellings, atmosphere, gothic horror. You'd really enjoy this one. I'm also going to talk about the second one. I don't have it physically because I read it on my Kindle, but the second one in that series is What Feasts at Night. I rated this 2.75, and I read it right after I read this one because I liked that one so much. I think I rated that. What did I read that one again? Sorry. I read that one 4.0. I rated 2.75 to What Feasts at Night. That one is a darker, more unsettling, but you're following the same soldier. Again, he goes back home. I forgot what happened now at this point, but his dad is really sick, and there's all these people in the town that something's going on. And anyway, you're just like revisiting it. I did not really enjoy it. I thought it was like, okay, it's a little redundant, and it just was kind of all over the place. I did not really enjoy this book, you guys. Okay, the next one that I have is also one that I don't have physically because I listened to it. It was one of my book of the month picks for, I think it was for December. Yeah, it was for December. And it was Best Offer Wins. So I did the audiobook. And I'm really glad I did the audiobook because it was very, very entertaining. Basically, we are following, hang on, let me look at my Goodreads. What did I rate it? Oh, I didn't even rate it? Oh my God, I'm an idiot. Okay, I didn't rate this one. Whoopsie. I think now if I had to go back, I'd probably rate it like a 4 because it was really fun. I had a great time listening to it. It was about a girl named Margot, and she's very unhinged. Her and her husband are looking for their dream home. They live in like the DMV area, and in DC, it's really like around DC, it's really hard to find anything that is like under like $1 million. And it's kind of the same here in New England, how the housing market is like completely a seller's market. You'll have a house go on for like a weekend and they already have multiple offers, and you have to just like be on it, and everything is over asking price, so it's inflating the value of homes. So that's kind of what's going on here. So I completely relate to this because a lot of social satire. Girl just becomes like, what won't she do for this house? So she finds the perfect home and she tries to basically like stalk the people that live there so that she could get it off market. It's extremely wild. So glad I went into it kind of blind because it was a fun ride. But I don't think I've ever read any type of thriller book about like the housing market. I don't know. It was like very different. So maybe that'll be a trend that we see, but it's very, very relevant to us millennials and Gen whatevers that are trying to buy homes, and it's like impossible in certain areas. So anyways, but yeah, I would definitely say if you like morally dark, like humor and characters, like morally gray characters, you would really enjoy it. Okay, and then we have Woman Down by Colleen Hoover. This was a new release. This came out this year. I really enjoyed this book. I've seen a lot of back and forth on it. I'm just going to say this. In the beginning of the book, she definitely, and by the way, I think I have a reading vlog or something with this in it. Maybe I don't know. But oh wait, never mind. I did that on my Instagram. Disregard that. This book, in the very beginning, in the author's note, Colleen Hoover's like, don't read into it. This was cathartic for me. It was based off of a novella, whatever. Look, this read like fan fiction of her life. I'm sorry. There was too many things that just lined up perfectly, okay? So whatever, but it's not really, I would not say this is so much like a thriller. I feel like this is like a romantic suspense book. It's definitely suspenseful, but I would not say it was like a true thriller. If you're a fan of Verity, I would recommend this book to you. So we're following a writer who is at her writing retreat that she goes to get out a book. She has a slump because there was a movie adaptation that was very popular, and there was issues with the producer, I want to say, and like one of the writers and the actors of the movie adaptation from her very popular book. And the whole internet and bookish community, all these people ended up like pretty much canceling her. So she ends up writing, and she gets this muse, and things go off the like rails, okay? If you do not like cheating, don't read this book, okay? Or wait, not that if you don't like cheating, but you know what I mean. If you don't like to read books where they do that, don't read this book, okay? Also, this book, if you liked, like again, if you liked Verity, pushing like what's gonna happen next, then you would appreciate it. It's not romanticizing what's going on. That's what I think in these books. I know when I'm going into it. This is dark, this is messed up, this is someone's intrusive thoughts, okay? Like, I'm not reading that much more into it. I'm not gonna look at their relationship and be like, oh my god, that's a great relationship, because it's not, okay? It's messed up, and I think that's the point. So you have to know that going into it. Don't think this is a romance. It is not a romance. It's like a Lifetime movie. So it's dark and it's messed up, and I actually had a really fun time with it because I didn't read that much into it. But anyways, I read this book. It's called How the Mafia Saved My Life, and this is by Duren. This is a self-published book. I was at my local Barnes & Noble, and this author was there, and she was selling her books, and so I went up to her and talked with her. Very lovely woman, and she grew up in Boston. It's only like 100 pages, and it's very ginormous writing, so it took me like 45 minutes to read this, but it's really good. It's about her life. There was like some acts of kindness that people in the Mafia, that she's pretty sure they're Mafia, they helped her because she had a very troubled upbringing, and my iPad is on low battery, and like if I leave it alone for 30 seconds it turns off anyway, but they helped her a few times, and it's because of those acts of kindness that led her life into a new trajectory. So that's really what her life is focused on, and helping others. And you know, she hasn't got everything perfect or everything right in her life, but she's trying, and understanding that, you know, there are people in this world that can make a difference, and they don't even realize what they're doing, but they're making a difference in your life. And I don't think I'm gonna rate this one because it's like kind of about her life, but I really enjoyed my reading with it, and I enjoyed her being vulnerable and really showing like her life story. I thought it was really good. Okay, then I read Widow's Point by Mr. Richard Chizmar. Okay, you guys, I love found footage horror movies. Love them. I haven't read episode 13th, but I really want to, okay? But this book, I love the beginning of it. It was creepy. I was actually kind of scared because I read it over a course of like 2 days. So the first night I read the first half of the book, and I was like genuinely freaked out. The last part of it totally lost me. I rated it 3 stars because of literally the last part of the book. I did not like it. And you're basically following, the whole thing is found footage-y because it's like in different transcripts and things like that, different news articles, interviews, whatever. I think it takes such talent to be able to write a book like that, and all fleshed out characters, settings, stuff like that. Anyway, you're following 2 different investigations. The first one, again, I really like. The second one, not so much. But they're all investigating this Widow's Point lighthouse. A creepy lighthouse, I'm there. And there's just really unsettling things that have gone on and around with this lighthouse. So you've got these paranormal investigators that are trying to figure out, and they slowly descend to madness within the lighthouse. And it's just so... the story was really, really good. I just hated the characters at the end. But other than that, it was awesome. So I would definitely say if you like haunted locations, if you like the found footage aspect, to read this book, because I do really like Richard Chizmar. I've read memorials by him, and there's another book called Chasing the Boogeyman. I want to find it in my library, but I think that he's really good. And Stephen King made a blurb on here, and I think they work together, like they've written a book together and stuff. So if you like Stephen King also, I would recommend Richard Chizmar. Okay, then we have The Mad Wife by Meagan Church. You guys, I absolutely loved this book so much. It was so good. This is a historical fiction. You're following, it's a psychological thriller, historical fiction kind of book, okay? Kind of a thriller. Anyways, but you're following a girl named Lulu. She is the perfect housewife. And then she starts to realize, like, oh, I actually don't. And, like, what is all this? And, like, why am I doing any of this? And there is a woman that moves in across the street, and she seems to have secrets, and it kind of throws Lulu into this, like, spin. Who she is as a person, and hysteria. And, like, during that time in the 60s, 50s, I guess-ish, they talked a lot about the housewife syndrome, and it was hysteria, and they would actually take women to, like, I'll say crematoriums, that's not right, asylums, because they thought they were nuts so much. I definitely say, you know, if you like unreliable narrators, if you like domestic thrillers, if you want to know more about the 50s, oh my gosh, please read this one. It's so good. Because of this book, actually, I want to read, like, everything else Meagan Church. She has 2 other books, and I want to read them. They sound so good, right up my alley, so I'm really excited to dive into her other works. Okay, and then I read The Long Walk by Stephen King. This one was his first book, I want to say. Correct me if I'm wrong. Light me up in the comments. This was, I believe, his first book as writing as Richard Bachman. Again, I could be wrong about that. I did not like it as much. I want to watch the movie, so that's why I wanted to read the book, because obviously Stephen King is a author that, like Jodi Picoult, I'm trying to read him to zero. Yeah, didn't really like this one, Stephen. I don't know if it's because he was writing for the first time as as Richard Bachman. So he kind of felt like he had to have, like, a different kind of writing style and what that looks like. And I don't know. I wasn't vibing. I rated a 3 star. I had a good time. I wish there was more expanded about this world. So basically, in this world, there is a competition, and this is taking place also, like, in the 70s, I'm pretty sure, but it's a dystopian time, or dystopian whatever society, and they have this competition where they have 100 boys, and they are doing a long walk. Like, they just start walking at a certain point, I believe in Maine, and they try to see how far they can go. The last person standing wins an ungodly, unspecified amount of money. And they have to maintain, like, a 4 mile an hour. If they stop, then they get, like, a strike, and then they die if they, like, they're not all gonna be living at the end. It's very Hunger Gamesy, okay? So anyways, there's a lot of tension obviously with that, very suspenseful. As they're walking, the boys are talking to each other and they learn so much more about each other and their lives and why they're doing this and like what possesses them to do this when they know that at the end of it, the people that they're making friends with are not going to be there. Like it's such a crazy concept, but I wish there was more expanded on the world. The horror of it all is the, normalization of this cruelty in this world and the endurance that these kids have to have. And there's like this authoritarian figure that they're all terrified of. And it's very, like, if you like dystopian horror, Hunger Games-y type of stuff, I think you would enjoy it. It's very fast-paced, so, I definitely would recommend it if you want to read something like that. I think if you are in between reading this and watching the movie, probably just go watch the movie. Because, I don't know, unless you're a completionist like me of Stephen King. But I would skip it. Sorry, Stephen. Okay. So there's a little lull in my reading right now, as you can see, because I read that one. People are absolutely going to come for my neck in this one. I read Iron Gold by Pierce Brown. I really liked the beginning of it. The last part, I did not care, you guys. I'm really worried if this book series is taking me out of it. I don't know. I loved the first Red Rising book because I liked more about the characters and learning about them. There's not really much I can say about this book other than there's the original trilogy, and then now you're following like more perspectives and in this new world, and it's set many years after the trilogy ends. Like setting up, you can really tell this book is setting up for the new books in the series. That's all I'm going to say about it though, because it's really hard to talk about a book in the middle of a series. Okay, now what? Oh, so the next book that I have is actually an audiobook. I listened to The Tell, and that was a memoir by Amy Griffin. Had it not been for the Oprah's book club pick, I don't know if I would have necessarily gotten to it, but I'm so glad that I read it. I listened to it. It took me, I don't know, maybe 3.5 hours, something like that. It was not a very long audiobook. And essentially you're following a girl who grew up in Texas, and she's always been a runner. She's very, very determined. She's definitely a perfectionist. She's definitely someone who works very hard for what she has and just demands basically for herself to be perfect and to do everything she has to do. And she, figuratively and literally running from something, and she did not know what she had, okay, or what she was doing. When I whenever I listen to a read or whatever, consume a memoir, I try to figure out like, what are they trying to tell me? What can I take from this book? So I'm going to read you the 3 things I wrote on my story graph of what things I took from this book. One is the history of MDMA for therapy. That's how she uncovers a lot of these repressed memories. And, it's definitely, there's a stigma around the psychedelic drug because people abuse it, obviously, but it was created for medicinal and therapeutic reasons. So learning the history about this very briefly that she touches on was very, very interesting, and how it's the stigmatization of it in Western culture especially. The second thing I took from this book is I related to it so much as being a native Texan and learning how, you're supposed to, one, respect your elders. You're not supposed to ruffle feathers. You're supposed to have, there is so much patriarchy within the Southern culture of it all, and showing up one way but hiding it in the background, and that's I can definitely relate to this main character and why she didn't say certain things. And the third is, the thing I took from it is, when dealing with your own personal traumas, having a familial support system and your spouse, and knowing and understanding their role in that. They're not supposed to solve your problems, and she was taking out a lot of things on her husband and kind of like expecting him to do all these things for her. And her therapist had to tell her at one point in the book, like, he's your husband. He's supposed to support you. He's not supposed to fix everything that happened to you. Like, you need to like stop putting it on him because you're going to ruin your marriage. And you know, how to deal with trauma and to navigate dealing with your own trauma and still showing up and being good for somebody else. And I really, really love that people have a role to play in your life and to help you, but you can't put so much on people's shoulders. And I really appreciated that in this book. Give it like 20-25%, and then once you learn what happened to her, you are there. It feels like in real time with her as she is learning how to cope and how to deal with her response from her trauma. And I promise you can take so much out of it. It was so good. Such a great audiobook. Okay. The next book that I read was The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. You guys, I love this book. I love the characters. I love Chauncey. Oh my God, he's amazing. This book is so cute. It's cozy, whimsical, you know, fantasy, found family, acceptance, choosing kindness. There was definitely a metaphor in here for, I believe, the trans community, you know, the queer community, and I absolutely think it was beautifully done. You fall in love with all the characters in this book, and it's just, there's so much about acceptance and accepting people for who they are. It was just, oh my goodness, just, it was so comforting and emotionally like affirming. I don't know. It was very, very good. I'm actually reading the second book right now because like I had to be in this world again. And it was like a warm hug. I know that everyone says that about his books, but literally that's what it is. So if you like found family, even if you're not a big cozy fantasy reader, we have This Is a Cry for Help, and this is by Emily Austen. I absolutely adored this book. I rated this one 5 stars. It's darkly funny. It's an honest look at mental health. It's a love letter to libraries and why not only libraries exist, but why they are crucial for our community. And it talks about book censorship. And I was so like, I feel grateful to have read this, and I really enjoyed the characters. If you like Emily Henry, like that witty banter, I feel like you would really appreciate Emily Austen's writing. It's kind of dry humor, I don't know, but I just really loved it. Even though the humor is very sharp in this book, it does not take away from or undermine the seriousness of mental health, and all of her books are that way. So definitely read that one. I also read The Future Saints. I rated this one 2.5 stars. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I ranted about it in my vlog, which I will be posting or posted by now. I'm not really sure how I'm structuring it. But anyway, I did not like this book, and which is such a shame because I have rated all of her other thrillers at least like a 4-star and above. This one just did not work for me. It was, compared to Daisy Jones and the Six, I didn't really care for it. Again, it's a story about a band who is not doing well, and they are kind of like in a lull. You know, they're having a slump essentially, and this new manager comes in and he's like, I'm gonna take you guys to the next level. The lead member of the band, she's very like angsty. It kind of felt like it was like a 90s 2000s vibe, but it's not. I don't know. They talk about TikTok in this book, so it's not like that time period, but it kind of felt like it. But her attitude just got on my nerves. It like wasn't something that I wanted to root for. Their connection was weird. I don't know. I just did not enjoy it. I didn't really enjoy my time reading it. I'm glad I read it because I like Ashley Winstead, but this one just did not work for me. All right, this pile is gonna absolutely fall over. The next book that I have that I listened to is Half His Age by Jennette McCurdy. I don't know what she was trying to do with this. I rated it 3 stars. Did I have a good time listening to it? Yeah, okay. I would recommend it if you are a fan of her memoir. If that was not too much for you to handle, you could read this book and enjoy it. It's not that you're enjoying your time reading it, because there's a lot of like grotesque taboo things. It's about a girl who's 17 who becomes obsessed with her creative writing teacher. It's definitely talks about grooming. It talks about emotional manipulation. There's mommy issues. I can see where that stems from for sure for her. There's so much talk also about like consumerism. There is just a lot of social commentary about a lot of things. I don't know what all she was trying to do with it. One thing that I took from it was, you know, she's trying to kind of talk about, again, she has a lot of mommy issues, as we know, but it's talking about how like there's a cycle of abuse. And even though I can recognize the shortcomings of my parents and like I know where they messed up and like where I want to be better than them, and I'm talking from her perspective, she's still, and you still make those same mistakes. And at what point do you say, okay, I recognize that I'm making this mistake and I am looking for this affirmation from men for this reason and whatever. So it's definitely a coming of age story. It's very graphic. So there's like a lot of sex scenes in here. And there is very gross graphic descriptions. So don't like, just if you're listening to this on audio, I would not listen to it on speaker. All right, and then I read Meet the Newmans, last book. And this book, actually, I need to get a drink of water. I really enjoyed my time reading this one. I rated it 4 stars. The ending of it was kind of like, that's why I rated it 4 stars. But this was a deeply like emotional family drama. It's about this family who is in the 60s, and I wouldn't say that, I thought that at first like they were like reality TV. They're not. It's a scripted television like sitcom about this family. Although they are a fictional family, they actually are a real family like in real life. And because of their status and like wholesome family values, whatever, the network makes them, you know, still be able to be portrayed in this way, right? So they can't just leave the work at the door. I mean, they still have to keep up with this persona that the family has. So it talks about that. There's also so much exploration about grief, loss, and how relationships change after certain tragedies. It also talks about a lot about like women's oppression in the publishing industry and the movie industry. It talks about homophobia at that time and how people had to hide their true identities. And it's very, very good. I enjoyed all aspects of it, being the emotional family drama, the historical fiction, the feminist commentary, the queer representation. I really enjoyed all aspects of this book and learning more about it. I would definitely say if you like historical fiction, if you liked lessons in chemistry, definitely pick this book up. And you know, there are some mixed media aspects to it, so it made it really fun. And I cannot wait to read more by this author. I know she has published quite a few different types of genres, so I love that for her. That's great. If you like an emotional contemporary fiction, it's a good one. It's definitely a good one. All right, you guys, that's it. Oh my God, this is gonna fall over. These are all the books that I read in the month of January. Again, it was a banger after banger reading month. Oh my God, it was so good. I found some new authors that I am absolutely obsessed with. I read from some authors that I absolutely love. So yeah, it was definitely a great reading month. Thank you for being here with me today, you know, giving me an ounce of your time. What a treat and an honor. Please remember to take care of yourself and let me know if you've read any of these books and what you think and what's on your February TBR. And I will see you guys next time. And please remember to like and subscribe to help me and my channel. Okay, bye guys. See you later.